And welcome to the show. Here we are, and it is a Father's Day. This is Law 2020, brought to you by your friends in the offices of the BCN Law Firm. They've got some locations around Central Florida and looking to grow those locations. If you ever need the law firm, you've heard the commercials and you sing the song. It's like that, It's a Small World at Disney. It just gets in your mind. You can't get it out. 855-LAW 2020. 855-LAW 2020. Not a singer. I don't even play one on the radio. 855-LAW 2020. We have three different attorneys who show up on this show. Wade Boyette, Heath Nalos, or Brian Monk. And I want to wish a very nice happy Father's Day to all you at home. If you want to send a shout out to your dad, all you need to do is go ahead and go on our new News 96.5 app. I don't think Heath will mind if we take a little time on our rejoins to have you salute your dad. And what you do on that is go to the News 96.5 app on your smartphone. If you don't have it, download it. It takes about 10 seconds. And when you see it, you've got a page on there, and it says Open Mic on a red button. Hit Open Mic. It comes right into our computers. We replay it for you. You can even ask a question of Heath, or you can send out a shout to your dad. Okay? Or in memory of your dad. You can say, I remember I had the best dad in the world, and I want to be like him. So, you took your kids to church already, you had a wife, everything going good today, right, Dad?
We've had a busy day, Rob. I want to say thank you to my stepfather, and also my late father passed away about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say God bless him, and I appreciate him, and thank you.
Okay, I had a question for you. We note the passing with a great deal of sadness of Casey Kasem. Everybody in our audience knows of Casey Kasem, but I bring him up not only sadly because he has passed, as we've heard on the news, but I wanted to bring up what happened to his great legacy, and that was his family, through their distrust of each other and through their petty bickering, got into a terrible, terrible custody battle that had to go to court over him when he got into the late stages of his life and got so ill he couldn't make decisions for himself. How could his estate have been set up back when he was healthy, wealthy, and wise? What papers should he have come to a legal law firm and made out so that his wishes would have been filed, not those of of his wife at the time who went to court to try to keep him away from the kids who tried to fight the stepmother to get the rights to have their father, and all of the people fighting over him, and really kind of marred the end of his life with just so much controversy.
That's why estate planning is so important. It's we see this situation all the time, and it's tragic, but they need to see an attorney quickly and get to us sooner than later, because a lot of times people get jealous, they get greedy, and they incur the litigation they don't need to incur. Yeah.
So in this case, had he made his wishes known, are you saying that they could have filled out documents so that there would have been no dispute when he got incapacitated?
It could have been a lot easier than it is now, from what I understand. But it's all this situation happens all the time to us, and families fall apart when people die, and it's very tragic, and we just try to sort it out and get them back together.
All right, very good. So what you'll want to do is maybe if you don't have any end of life or any documents in place, you may need to get those. What are some of the documents people need to have?
Living wills, the trust estate, the whole package set up. We can do it it's very cheap to do it initially, but we get involved in very complex litigation over these situations like Casey Kasem. We have some stories we could tell you about estates and families that are just crazy, but they happen, and we try to sort them out.
All right, very good. Let me ask you about something else as we remind you, you can ask any legal question you have of Heath Nalos this hour by simply calling our hotline. It's absolutely free. You can give us a call at 855-297-9696. You could text us at 21232 or use the open mic feature on the News 96.5 app. What is your specialty at the law firm?
Well, my specialty has always been personal injury and insurance claims, including sinkholes and homeowner claims, but my background is always personal injury. But I also manage the family law section, so any fathers out there have a family law question, Brian Monk's our family law attorney, and he's available tomorrow at the office. And please call us and ask to talk about that.
Let me ask you this. Personal injury. I'm not sure if this falls in that bailiwick. If it doesn't, I apologize. But I'm hearing more and more on the news lately about lawsuits having to do with people filing suit against a doctor or a clinic or a pharmaceutical firm for testosterone problems that, there's so much prevalent advertising right now. It seems to be one of the biggest advertisements out there.
It seems to be the biggest thing in the market right now. A lot of doctors don't give blood tests, and they prescribe testosterone to people and don't follow up with it. So that can cause strokes or cancer or heart attacks, and it's not really doctors got to take more charge in the whole thing and be involved in it, because you need blood work. You need to find out what the heart's doing. It's a complicated thing.
So have you had cases that have come across your desk on this?
We have. And some doctors just write a script for testosterone, never see the client again. So the patient walks away with the script, and there's no follow through.
Wow, almost like the old the mills, right?
Yeah, well, testosterone, it makes you healthier. It makes you more vibrant. It gives you energy, muscle mass. It keeps your heart ticking better. But you got to follow through with the heart. You got to follow through with the blood test. You got to make sure you're checked out.
All right, very good. And what have been some of the symptoms going on in the cases that you studied, without naming any names, of course?
Right now, it's a brand new litigation right now, so we are still getting our feet into it. But really, people are having strokes and heart attacks with testosterone for a couple of years, and their levels spike up, and the doctors aren't following through with it. So doctors really need to stay on board and check them out and make sure the clients can handle it.
Is that something that, one, in your legal opinion, and you're not a doctor, but I mean, is that something that if somebody is hearing the ads or thinking about getting testosterone therapy, that they should contact their primary care physician first and get a very reputable, forwarding of who they should go to?
I would recommend going to a doctor that specializes in anti-aging, that knows how to handle this kind of stuff, because if not, then you can be in trouble.
Yeah, look for referrals. Okay.
Yeah.
14 minutes after the hour. Do you have any questions for Heath of any legal nature? You can call at the number here is 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. Let's go back to personal injury for a moment. If somebody is involved in a car accident, either way, maybe they feel that they're a little bit at fault, even though it's a no-fault state, or if they get hit, what should they do immediately?
Well, a no-fault state is very confusing, Rob. It just means we have PIP coverage, so you go to your own insurance company for your medical benefits. So the first thing you should do is get medical treatment to find out what's wrong with you, because if you don't, then you won't be covered. But as the biggest part of your policy is paying for the PIP benefits, so you need to get treatment, emergency room, chiropractor, find somebody quickly, and get checked out.
Okay. Well, Heath, if you do that, let's say that you have to see a doctor within 14 days, right?
Correct.
Okay. What happens? And I think this is the fly in the ointment, so to speak, because a lot of people are becoming aware too late that the doctor maybe didn't give the full diagnosis in that first 14 days, and then after that something pops up.
Well, sometimes it's hard to find out how bad you're hurt in 14 days.
Yeah.
You may think you're fine, then you wake up in 15 days and your back hurts. So you need to see somebody and quickly and get at least treated initially, and then at least you're in the system.
Okay.
If not, you're out of luck.
And do they have to fill out a diagnosis that even covers what they think can happen on day 15 through a year from now?
Correct. They need to fill out the paperwork and make sure you're in the system. And even if you don't hurt that bad, you should go initially. In that case, you're protected. If you wait till 16 days, you're out of luck, and your back could hurt bad or neck could hurt, and you're out of luck.
Okay, very good. And, it is amazing. Well, let me ask you this. If your own insurance company has PIP, are there limits on that? And if your medical bills exceed that, what happens next? Where does that bill go to?
That gets complicated. You have typically $10,000 in PIP. And if it passes that, then you go to if you have Aetna or Humana, then you got to pay them back. It's called subrogation, and a Latin word called right of recovery. You may have Medicare, Medicaid, and you got to deal with them, but you got to pay them back otherwise.
Okay. So in other words, the other insured isn't brought into the case at all?
At that point, no.
Really?
But you compensated later for pain and suffering in the settlement, though. So we settle the cases, and then we pay back the insurance companies from the global settlement.
I'll be darned. Okay. So, in other words, I still need clarification. Who is paying, like, if a guy's got he's got car insurance and then he's got Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Well, the person that hits you at that point will, if they have insurance, will pay you for a lump sum. Then my job is to sort out who pays back who and get everybody paid back.
Oh, okay.
It's one lump sum recovery, so it could be $100,000, and then you got to figure out who you got to pay back from the $100,000.
Okay, very good. All right, that should open up some questions right there. Here we are at 12:18. You're listening to Law 2020, featuring the guys from the phenomenal law firm right there. It's called BCN. BCN. Offices in where all? Winter Park, Grove, Claremont, and where else?
And Tavares, too.
And Tavares, and maybe a new office coming online later. We're keeping an eye on it.
We're talking about it.
All right, very good. You want to give us a call right now, chime in on the show. You got a legal question, you got a legal situation. Here's the cool thing. You don't have to use your real name. You don't have to use your real name. 855-297-9696. 855-297-9696. You can even say it's a friend that's going through this, if you know what I mean. All right, give us a call. You're listening to News 96.5. Hey, welcome back to the show. Yes, indeed. We are talking law right now. It's called Law 2020, brought to you by your friends at the BCN Law Firm. They've got offices around Central Florida, and you could give us a call right now at 855-297-9696. That is 855-297-9696. You could text your question to 21232 or use the new News 96.5 app, and you could give us a shout out on that. One, to your dad, and number two, just say, Heath, I've got a question about. Maybe it's about, we've had a lot of questions in the studio today when we're off the air about traffic tickets and getting speeding tickets in the state of Florida and that sort of thing. All right, let me go back to Heath, because one of the things he specializes in is personal injury. And I think the first thing we think about when we think personal injury is car accidents. But you're covering an awful lot of other cases and helping a lot of Central Floridians on things that have nothing to do with an automobile.
We get so many different kinds of calls, Rob, every day, and most of them aren't car accidents.
Really?
Yeah.
What are some of the things we're talking about there, Heath?
People get hurt, and they get hurt in different ways. And a lot of times they may fall at a store, or they may just, something happens to them. It's not their fault. So it's a very diverse collection of cases.
Well, let me ask you this. If somebody owns a store, and they've got a store, and they put up a sign that says slippery when wet, because they're mopping the floors. Now, are they taking a liability when they do that, admitting that they've got a hazard there? Because I've come across that a lot, where somebody will slip and fall, and they'll sue the store, but is the store owner, in pointing out the problem, saying, yeah, I notice I have a problem?
No, they're doing the right thing there by pointing it out. Sometimes they actually put the signs out after the fall and take a picture of it, which is not good. So a lot of times more after the fact, but if they are proactive and point out the problems, then they're safer than not to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my clients walk in the store, and you could fall easily if it's wet, but the sign at least protects the store owner.
Okay, I like that. Now, in an automobile accident, we know the first thing is the officer's going to come, and he's going to fill out a report. But what happens if you fall in a store? What is your first thing you need to do?
The first thing you need to do is talk to the store manager and make an incident report, and make sure they know you fell there on the store, and give them facts of the accident, and then seek an attorney after that. But at least you dictated you're there, that you fell, and you're hurt. And if you're hurt, go to the emergency room. Take care of yourself.
Now, you were talking earlier about the automobile laws in Florida say 14 days that you have to be seen by a doctor, and the prognosis has to be written. What is it in a personal injury case that you fall in somebody's yard, you're playing volleyball, and you get hurt in somebody's house, or in the case of a store?
It's totally different rules there. There's no PIP applies there. So really you're going against their insurance policy. You just want to dictate that you were there and pin it down, that you got hurt there, and then see a doctor right away.
Now, when you're looking for remedy in a personal injury case like that, what all considerations do you remind the person of? And this is probably a good list, but we got time today because the phones are dead. But if somebody sits down and they say, well, Heath, I got pain and suffering, and I was out of work for 3 days. But what are some of the other things that you can get them compensation for?
That is a great question. Number one, if you go to trial, the first thing you put on the board is pain and suffering. After that is your wages you lost. After that is your medical records, medical bills you didn't get paid for, and then future medicals too.
Wow. And you used to even hear of, and it's Father's Day, we used to even hear of lack of being able to be a husband for 3 or 4 weeks, or lack of being able to be a wife for 3 or 4 weeks in that term of
that's called a loss of consortium claim, and it's a very valuable claim in some cases, but it makes for some very uncomfortable depositions.
I bet it does.
I've been through quite a few of them before. It's not always easy.
And just some people just shy away from that because they don't want to talk about such intimate details?
Or the other lawyer may want to talk about them and make you talk about them, so it becomes an hour-long investigation into things.
Well, there again, that opens up another line of questioning. Now I'm sounding like the attorney. And that is that if you come up with something in your case, you just put it on the table for full discourse between the two sides, right?
It's on the table. So the plaintiff in a personal injury case is going to be investigated and on the table, and it's not always comfortable.
All right, very good. All right, if you have questions for Heath, it's 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696, or you could text your call or your question to 21232. That is 21232. I got a question. When you guys are looking to expand, is there any thought of moving up to that Wildwood, Fruitland Park, Leesburg, Ocala area where there seems to be so much phenomenal growth up there? I mean, all around there, not just the one development. There are plenty of them.
What a great question. We are looking into expanding to the villages right now. We think it's a great market up there. We think we offer good service there. And I've been part of that community for so many years. I know a lot of people there. So we really want to get up there and have an office in that community because it's a huge market and it's very diverse. And I think we can do a good service there.
Yeah, well, if you look at, the combination of that area plus Spruce Creek, the phenomenal growth in Wildwood and Leesburg right now, you're talking well over 140, 150,000 people. And a lot of people in Orlando don't realize that that there's that many people that are up there.
No, I had a Leesburg office for over 20 years up there.
Did you really?
Yes. My founding partner, Norman Cummins, started the office back in about 40 years ago.
I'll be darned.
He's my wife's father, and happy Father's Day to Norman. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And that is quite a name in that area, by the way. That is a person who helped build the community, and that speaks a lot for your firm. You guys have been long-time community-involved members, and like that gentleman who I've been in Lake County since '78, and I hear his name all the time.
Yeah, he's been around here for a long time, does a great job. I sit on at least 7 boards in the community, and we love community service. It's kind of the thing we do for our firm. But Norman's been in Leesburg for a long time, and he has a great reputation. My wife grew up there, of course, in Leesburg, so we're kind of rooted there. So it's nice to get back up in the north side of the county.
Very good. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with your legal questions and more. This is Law 2020, brought to you by your friends at the BCN Law Firm. We'll be back. Hey, welcome back. This is Law 2020, featuring the attorneys from the BCN Law Firm, 3 locations around Central Florida, soon to be a 4th. And if you would like to get a hold of them at any time, let me give you a couple of contact numbers for the BCN Law Firm. It's 352-394-2103, 352-394-2103, or you could call toll-free 855-LAW-2020, 855-LAW-2020. You could also go to the bcnlawfirm.com and read up on the partners in the law firm and what they all specialize in. Each one of the attorneys has their own specialty, and they bring an awful lot to the table. Plus, You talk about community involved. We'll be talking about some of that community involvement and why that is so important. You've got to know the territory when you're representing people. You got to know the courts. You got to know the disposition of the courts. We got to know the disposition of our circuit. How does it usually rule on various cases? Once you know that, you can't be a new guy in town. You got to be somebody that knows the territory. Okay. We do have a text at 21232, and this is from a gentleman who says, I have my son during the school year. The mother has him during the summer. My problem is she will not let me talk to him when he is there. What are my remedies?
Well, that's not right. Any child should be able to talk to the father, especially here on Father's Day here. The remedy is see an attorney and try to make the mom cooperate with you. I would call her first and ask her to, hey, let my son talk to me. But if not, see an attorney and get that worked out, because that's just not the way it's supposed to be.
Are those provisions that you would attach to an original settlement of a child time-sharing case and say, we maybe some people would think it's silly, but we need to address every situation?
It should be in the original settlement agreement. A lot of people don't want to spend the money to see an attorney to enforce it. I understand that. I would try calling the mom first, but after that, if you need to speak to your child, especially during the summer, and here we are, Father's Day, so this is a very important question. So yeah. I would see an attorney.
Let me ask you this. There's an awful lot of people moving here, and this time of year especially. It's summer, and school's out up north, so that's when families move to Florida for the most part. And so they get down here, and maybe most of the states have child custody as the case in court. We don't have that. Explain what our government has here in Florida as far as what happens with the kids.
Well, it changes every year, which is kind of unusual. So our family law attorney, Brian Monk, is the one who talked to you about that. But right now, we are 50-50 custody state, so you're supposed to spend half the time with the father, half with the mother. It doesn't always work out, but that's what the law says right now.
And it's actually we're not referring to the real estate transaction, but it's actually now called time sharing, right?
It's called time sharing, and you're supposed to live in the same house together until you get divorced, which doesn't work out too well. But that's what they're trying to push right now. So,
wow, I hadn't heard that provision. Yeah, that seems a little crazy.
Well, I'm not the family law attorney, but I can point you to Brian Monk at my office. But it does get crazy sometimes.
Okay. What is your take on the red light cameras that are going on? That is a text question from 5083. As an attorney, what is your take on those?
Well, I've gotten 2 tickets myself, and both times I was making a right turn on a red light legally and stopped, and I still got a ticket for $150. So I think it's a money-making venture for the cities, and I'm not a big fan of it.
How can they, as an attorney, you probably really scratch your head on this one, Heath, because how can it be legal in the state of Florida with a sign that says right turn after red after stop? And yet we have judges who have come out publicly and said, I don't care what the sign says. I don't think it's prudent and I don't think it's safe.
It's purely, in my opinion, it's a money-making venture in the cities. I'm not a fan of them. Both my cases got dismissed without much problem, but it's just not a good idea. You should not put in these kind of rules and fines to make money off the cities.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing I noticed when I was in court, to follow up on 5083, I went to court in Apopka, and I noticed it was a laugh fest between the hearing officer and the law enforcement officers that were there. Whenever anybody make a comment, they'd laugh about it. And that bothered me, decorum in the court. The other thing that bothers me quite a bit was there were so many people in there that were minorities that seemed to be very poor by the looks of their cars and the looks of their clothing. The least they can afford, they're trying to put food on the table for their little kiddies, and they're being hauled into court for $150, $200 some dollars, because that red light camera saw them run a light. To where, my point is this: if it was a law enforcement officer sitting there and I blew a red light, but my rear end cleared the intersection before it turned red, he might say, I'll give the Rob the benefit of the doubt. He looked both ways. He didn't see anything. The red light camera is all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, and it's taking advantage of people without any money to fight the system.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's not a great idea. We're just creating income for the cities, and I don't want to get in trouble with the city of Claremont, but we have problems there with that, so it's not a great idea.
Well, is there such a thing in the law that, all right, if an officer gives you a ticket for running a red light, it's punishable different in the state of Florida than it is if the camera catches you? How is that legal?
It's the same. I'm not a criminal attorney, not a traffic ticket attorney, but either way, the officer can give you a ticket, but it's not admissible in court. So the officer's got to come to court and explain why he gave you the ticket, and the judge makes the ruling in court.
Okay, but on the red light cameras, as I understood it, if the camera gets you, there's no points assessed.
Nope. If you pay the ticket early.
Okay.
If you want to fight it, then you go to court, and then you may get points assessed if you don't.
That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let me get back to something I began the hour with. Okay, here's one, another text. I think we've opened up something. I just filed enforcement for visitation and visitation arrangement by the court by default on my ex. Will make her pay visitation arrearages equal to child support? Wow.
I'm looking at that, Rob, right now. It's
That's odd, isn't it? So in other words, if the visitation wasn't as justified in the ruling, from the way I read that, he's saying, okay, the money needs to be changed if she didn't see him or I didn't see him.
Correct. You need a modification of the original ruling at that point. So that's an attorney question.
So you go to the attorney and you file for that.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Let me ask you what you're doing in involvement in the community. I know you guys sit on every board there is in Central Florida. You're also helping on a lot of the events, Pig on the Pond and things like that. But what's this I hear about you dancing to raise money for education?
Well, thank you, Rob. It's probably the worst decision of my life.
Oh,
but
come on.
I'm doing a charity event where I'm dancing with the stars, and I'm the star. And we're doing a couple dances, and it's I'm not a dancer, so if you see me, you look at me, you don't picture me as a dancer probably.
I like it.
But it's for the community raised about $30,000, and it's up in July 26th in the Lakes Community Foundation. So please support me if you can.
Well, that's great. And how do they show their support? Do they go on a website? What do they do?
Show up would be the best thing, and cheer for me.
Okay, and it's going to be where? Lake Receptions or something?
Lake Receptions, July 26th. Please call my firm for any information. But it's way outside my comfort zone. I'm not built like a dancer.
And what do they do to support you? Do they raise money? Do they give a donation in your name?
Just show up and cheer for me. It'd be the best thing to do.
That'd be the best thing to do,
yes,
and maybe
please.
give some money. And what does this educational foundation go for? What is helping the kids?
It helps the schools and the kids, and the money all goes back to the community. So it's all for Lake County. I'm doing a Spanish dance and a foxtrot.
That's cool. But it's so important because if there's any problem, one of the problems we face here in the Sunshine State is that our schools lack for a lot of funding.
They're underfunded, especially in Lake County. They're underfunded, but we're trying to work on that. I sit on a bunch of boards trying to work on that every day, and hopefully we can get this solved eventually.
All right, very good. Now, we are going to take a break. If you have a text question, 21232. If you want to go on the telephone, you can do that, and you don't have to use your real name, okay? Use the name Tim. That will be the code. He's our producer today. And you could call us at 855-297-9696. That's 855-297-9696. Text us at 21232. 21232. Phones are pretty slow today, but that's because everybody's barbecuing. They're out with Dad in the boat and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn, so you can multitask. Give us a call. And don't forget that new News 96.5 app that you can get from the App Store. It downloads in about 10 seconds onto your phone. And then you can use the open mic fixture. The other thing I really like about the features is there's a call station, so you don't ever have to dial the number again. Okay, or input it, however you call. All right, we're going to come back. We've got 2 calls holding. Don't hang up. We'll get to you. All coming up. We got Heath Nalos with us, and this is Law 2020. Hey, welcome back to the show. We are taking your calls right now. We got 2 calls in line right now at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696, or you can text us at 21232. And we want to remind you, if you want to get a hold of the BCN Law Firm during the week, bcnlawfirm.com. That is BCN lawfirm.com, or you could call one of 2 numbers, 352-394-2103. That's 352-394-2103. Or simply, sing that commercial to yourself, 855-LAW-2020, 855-LAW-2020. During the shows, every single Sunday, we either have Wade Boyette, Heath Nalos, or Brian Monk with us. Each has their own specialties. And today, Heath Nalos is with us. And Tim, what is your question?
Hello.
Hello, what is your question, Tim?
Yes, my question is, back in September, I purchased a business, and I was sold the business based on the Schedule C, and I believe the Schedule C was misrepresented. Do I have any recourse on that?
Yes, you do, Tim. If they misrepresent themselves, then we can talk about a lawsuit against them.
Yes, sir.
The best thing would be to come into our office and look at all the documents, because it's going to be complicated, and see what the numbers are. And we do a lot of commercial litigation, so we can definitely help you out.
Okay, great.
But you definitely have recourse. I mean, they obviously misrepresented you, and that's not fair, and you have a claim.
Okay, great. Great.
But please call us on Monday and come in and see us and bring the documents in so we can take a look at it. What type of business is it? Do you mind me asking you, or do you want to talk about it in person on Monday?
I'm listening from Indian River County. Is there a closer office to me?
No, we're in Claremont, but we're centrally located, so we're very, very central to everything in Orlando. So.
Okay, great.
So please come and call us and see us, please.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, really good. Let's go to Sharika. Sharika, we'll do as best we can on your call. We may take a conversation back and forth. What's going on?
Okay, my daughter is in prison, and she gave me custody, power of attorney and everything for her daughter to take care of her until she gets out. Okay?
Okay.
The father is also in prison and fixing to get out, and he's a very abusive person, and he said when he gets out, he's going to come and take her. And I'm wanting to know if the power of attorney that my daughter gave me is good enough for him not to be able to get her, or I have to do something different.
Well, Sharika, I need to review the power of attorney first. If you can fax it to us on Monday morning, we can talk about it there. But until I see it, I can't give you recommendations.
Okay.
Without seeing it, I can't tell you what's good and what's not good until I actually take a look at the document.
What would that fax number be, Heath?
It's at my law firm, BCN Law Firm. It's 352-394-2103.
Okay, did you get that, Sharika?
Yes.
Or you can email it to me. You can call me on Monday, but until I see the documents, I can't give you advice on that question.
Sharika, does the father of the child have any kind of provision in the divorce that if he got out of prison?
They were never married.
Was there ever a document signed of who visitation for the child or time sharing for the child?
They were never married. They were both, whenever she was born, they both went to prison.
Okay, my family law attorney, Brian Monk's the person to talk to for that, but please call me and I'll connect you with Brian, and we can answer the question for you.
All right, thank you.
Be glad to help you out, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Barbara, what's going on with you?
Fighting an insurance company for 2 years.
All right.
Well, that's more my speed than the family law question, so thanks for calling. Who's the insurance company?
State Farm.
Okay, State Farm. I used to
And
work with
the
them.
mortgage company is, at the time I had started the trouble, was Chase
Okay.
Banks, and then they changed it to Ceteris.
Okay.
And so Chase and Ceteris sort of blended into one, and Chase told me to send the check that I had gotten from my water damage in my home.
Okay.
To send them the check, and they would sign it and send it back to me so I could pay my contractors for the work that they did.
And what happened?
Well, I sent the check, and I sent them invoices, and everything was just fine. And they said, sign the check and send it to us, and we'll take care of it. And they took care of it, all right. They said they put it in my escrow balance account, but they didn't do that. I requested a list of all the entries that they had on my
They shouldn't do that.
statement.
They shouldn't do that. Please call our office on Monday, and we do this every day. We can help you out with this one. This is very easy.
Well, I called the insurance commissioner's office. I've called everybody.
It won't help, but talk to us. We can do our best to help you out, man.
Okay, Barbara, here's the number you want to call. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, take this number down. 352-394-2103. 352-394-2103. They get people help on this kind of case all the time. Okay? And
Okay,
let me...
one more time, 352.
Okay, 352-394-2103.
It should be easy, Barbara, and it sounds like something we can help you out with easily, so don't stress out about it, please.
Or go to bcnlawfirm.com, and you'll get all the contact information. Less than a minute, but real quickly, Carol, you're asking if a young boy always cuts through your yard on a bike, if he gets hurt, are you liable? Heath, what do you think?
Potentially, but how's he going to get hurt? So it's very rare, but you could be liable. Yes, your property.
Should she put up a no trespass sign?
If she's worried about it, yes.
Very good. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you so much. We just didn't have time to do the two-way because I wanted to make sure you got an answer from the attorney. We've got to cut it out for the day. We're going to keep asking the experts all weekend long. Heath, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for your community support, too. BCN Law Firm, man. Good job. All right. Tim's doing a good job. Everybody's doing a good job. News is coming up next with Dave Wall, who does an excellent job.